Hello and welcome. I'm so excited to have Shane Austin, Dave Austin's son, here to share about more about how to use the Extreme Focus coaching program. Shane's one of the best people to interview because he grew up with this stuff, and I'm really excited to hear your insights into the principles and about how it's helped you. And Dave is just such an awesome dad. He's always bragging about his boys, and he loves to share about what you're up to and your three touchdowns in 56 seconds at the end of a game to win a champion match, and just all the stories that I'm just dying to hear from you. And but before we jump into all of this, I just want to introduce Shane. He played professional football. He's a kind of serial entrepreneur. The big project that he's working on is Poise. It's a company that his brother Chase and him started, and it's a really neat app. It's a program that coaches can use to support their work and really use the tools that even Dave created as Game Ready and methods that really support athletes to get into peak state. And he's also a marketer for a local home builder. He's started another Riot technology company, and he's just got a lot of things going on. So anyway, welcome, Shane, and so happy to have you here. And is there anything else you want to add to the introduction there?
I, I think you covered it. I just want to say thanks for having me. I think this is, I mean, it's always a fun topic whenever you get to talk about mindset, mental performance. It's like you said, it's what I grew up with. I didn't really have a choice, right? My my having my dad as a personal coach was a great advantage. And it inspired me to do a lot of the things I'm doing today, to be able to give a lot of that knowledge and the things that I was fortunate enough to grow up with. Not everybody has access to. So it's an exciting topic for me to talk about. And yeah, let's dive in.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking like you probably know this stuff almost better than your dad because it was trained into you when your subconscious was like,
I
being
definitely know it a
programmed,
lot better
you
than him.
know?
I'm glad that you said it, not me. He won't
Yeah.
admit it, but yeah. No,
But
I got to be kind of a guinea pig in a sense because as he was, it wasn't even really a coaching practice at first. It was just a dad trying to help his son be the best he can do. And then I had, very early success despite my size. And so there was obviously something different, right? There was a different approach. And it was the secret weapon was between the ears. It was the mental side of the game. And I joke that I got his career started because a professional baseball scout was in the stands watching my game as a Pop Warner youth. And he's like, my clients need that. And he was talking to my dad, they already had a good relationship. And then he started working with Major League Baseball players, and he started doing, the things that he was doing with me. And so I feel like we co-created a lot of the processes and methodologies, but yeah, he was actually coaching it. I was just living it out on the field.
that's incredible, incredible. And one of my favorite stories is that story about the three touchdowns. And I want you to just share how you use the methodology or how like because it's one thing to talk about game ready or talk about beast mode, but like when you're on the field and you're actually in it and using it, how did you have the advantage like that? And what was that like for you? Just can you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're fast forward to at my professional career, and the specific moment you're talking about is I remember we were against Philadelphia. We were down, with 57 seconds left in the game. We're down by 17 points, and it's like that almost seems insurmountable to be able to come back from that. And I will say that my approach at that time was not what I had as a kid, right? Like this took a long time to develop and understand because Mike Tyson says everybody's got a plan so they get punched in the mouth. This was the moment where like you're getting punched in the mouth. You're not feeling good. Like a lot of people can shine when things are going great. It really takes a different mentality when things are not going great, and you have to still overcome and step up. But really, I kept it simple, and this is something I look back to that this moment that we're talking about. I've applied in many areas of my life because 57 seconds left. That means the game's not over, right? Like there's still time on the clock. And I had to continue to remind my teammates and players, like, if there's still time on the clock, there's still a chance, right? And who cares like how it's going to happen or what's like sometimes we get a little too caught up in the weeds, but all we can control right now is this moment. And I kept it down, but kind of brought it back to let's just focus in on right now, making this one play the best play that it can be. And the great thing about football is it is broken up into one play at a time, right? It's not as fluid as some of the other sports. But you really can break it down to one play. And all right, this play's over. Now we're on to this play, right? And so we simplified that. It could be overwhelming when you try to think of, oh my gosh, how are we going to overcome 17 points? Yes, I think you do need a little bit of luck too, but you need to put yourself in position to have good things happen and have some lucky moments happen. But we took it one play at a time. We got a score. We got an onside kick, and it was our first onside kick of the season, and we recovered it. Then we go down, and you still got to score again, right? So one play at a time, taking down, get another score, go for a second onside kick, which is unheard of to get one onside kick, yet alone two, and somehow we get a second one. Now it's like now it's go time. Now we actually have a shot. But you still, again, you still have to score. So you still have to bring it back to the present moment. You still have to remain what I call like neutral mindset. You're not getting too high or too low. You're still just staying level headed. And there's a lot of like the beast principles that I've learned over the years and all that stuff that had to be applied in the moment to stay in the moment. And yeah, with zero point 0.8 seconds left, we ended up hitting the game winning touchdown to win it and get on ESPN top 10 plays and all that stuff. Like, it was a very exciting moment in my career, but we had a lot of those moments even throughout that season because a lot of my teammates got onto that same mindset. Maybe they weren't growing up with it, but it's that which is easy not to do that which is easy to do is easy not to do. So sometimes it's just reminding people like, hey, let's simplify things. Let's just keep it right down into the moment, right? Like we'll see what happens when the dust settles, but right now this is what we can control. And we kind of had that mindset all throughout that season, and we ended up setting the best record in AFL history. We went 17-1 in the regular season, and we went to the championship and ended up losing it, but 19-2 overall, which was a pretty dang good season for a lot of players that had not really been on successful teams. Like it was amazing to see a collective mindset come together as a team and get into group flow, game in and game out. It's powerful when you can get everybody moving in that direction.
Oh my gosh, that's so powerful. The formula that I kind of see is a turnaround that I know as like I was on the volleyball team and in group teams like that, but we would get down, like you're down and you're 17 and to turn that energy around for yourself, let alone an entire team, it really takes, it's such an art, right? And so to simplify and bring it back into the moment. And then I like how you pointed out that neutral mindset. I think that's really important because there's so much of like the emotional highs and lows on a team, don't you think? And in a
Oh
sport,
yeah.
like I played a lot of individual sports too, and it was just like just managing my own game, but the the emphasis on the mindset, like ultimately you get to a certain level and it's all just mindset, right? Everyone has,
Oh
like you
yeah.
were saying, NFL, AFL, CFL, there's this basic level of skill, right? Like
Mhm.
everyone's kind of pretty good at what they do at that
Everybody's
point.
good. Everybody's
Yeah,
physically talented.
everyone's incredible. And so it all just comes down to this place right here in between the two
I've
ears.
I've
So
played with players that were more physically talented than some of the best NFL athletes that are on the field. Like right now, like you can see, and you're like, what is keeping this guy from the NFL? I don't get it. And then we'd get into, we'd hit some adversity in a game, and I was like, I see what it is now. Okay, this guy is a loose cannon as soon as it gets tough. He's amazing when there's the thumbs up again. He's amazing when things are going right, and honestly, he's as talented as Odell Beckham Jr. But yeah, if the mindset is not there, you're not gonna get to that top tier that you're looking for, and that could be a 1% difference, but it makes all the difference.
yeah, it makes all the difference.
Hmm.
Yeah, I remember those days when I would just like I was the loose cannon. I was like, I'd be like winning and be like, "Oh, I got this," and then I'd start losing. I want to smash my racket against the wall. Like I'd just be so mad. And so, yeah, the coaching is such a huge thing. So it sounds like you work with athletes right now with teams as well as starting Poise and all the other companies that you're doing, but do you have specific examples of how you use the extreme focus coaching um, principles and a specific example of how it's really helped one of your clients?
Yeah, gosh, I could think of a lot. I think the greatest advantage for me, and I guess I was fortunate enough. Obviously, I grew up with a lot of the principles, and I got to learn a lot of the stuff at a young age. But where it really made a difference in my career, just personally, was when I started coaching it, and I actually did that in tandem with my playing career. I think it was when I just got into the professional ranks. I actually went through the full extreme focus certification, even though I had been coaching it and doing it, but then I wanted to start coaching it myself. And as I started to bring on some of my own clients, even while I was playing, as you teach it, you understand it at a different level. You have to dive in. Like it's amazing that, as I don't know if you've brought up the beast triggers yet, but the beast animals that we utilize in our coaching, you can learn it at a certain level, at a surface level, maybe. And then you can find that there's a whole nother depth to it. And then once you get to that, there's another depth. And it's like you can just keep diving down and in understanding the application so much greater the more you start applying it and teaching it yourself. So that was awesome for me because I was still playing. I could still like not just say, "Hey, I read this in a book. You should try this." Like, no, I'm living it out right now. And so that built like a good rapport with any of my coaching clients. So I worked with a lot of soccer players. I've worked with volleyball players. Totally different sports, right? And a lot of female athletes too. Totally different dynamics, but all of those same rules and same principles applied. And when they can see me, I'm going and applying it. I'm like, hey, did they saw me, play that weekend, and now they get to go and apply those same principles. We were all applying it. It works at all levels, right? So, going back to the beast triggers, I would apply them a lot going into a game. I'd simplify it down to a few intentions going into the game, and intentions are something that you can always control, something that it's not really a goal or a result oriented focus, it's a process oriented focus, and the beasts are perfect for that. So as I'm teaching it, one of the beast principles, whether it's etmo, right, embrace the moment, like we are talking about, staying in the
Yeah.
moment, I could use that, or core the lion. I could say that, write it down as that's my intention for the game, is to really embody that beast characteristic. And when I did, it would just, it would be an incredible moment for me personally in my career, but then I would share it with my clients and they would use almost the same principle. Like, what, that one works for me too right now. Like that's awesome. And then it's almost more rewarding. It's great. I could throw the touchdowns and I could be on ESPN or whatever, but then I see my client who, it's just a few people, it's just parents, but then they hit that game winner PK, kick in a soccer game. And it's like, I can live through them and live their successes. And I'm sure, my dad can relate to that as well. He lives through his clients' career and their successes, but it's almost sometimes it's even more rewarding to see them succeed because they're applying the same thing. And it's really cool to see.
That's what your dad was saying in the interview with Meg Henry and him. They were just like, yeah, like seeing our own clients reach amazing, like it's just such a thrill. And there is something to that. And but I do really appreciate that. We have people that are joining the program that are just they buy and sell companies. They're not going to be coaching, but the way that these principles, like I'm studying some of like Hermes principles that were written like thousands of years ago, but the law of correspondence is that as it is above, so it is below. Like if you see it in one place, you see it everywhere. Or if it works in one way, it works in all the different ways if it's a true principle. And so these principles are so powerful because it's not that it works in football and pro football, and then it works like on the pickleball court with your grandpa. Like there's just so many, it works in
Works
business and
in
it works
business, it works in school, it's
in swimming in
everywhere.
school. Yeah. And so it's so powerful. And I love also how you said like it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper. This the more we understand this. And so one of the things of just like doing this certification is how much you will grow as a human being and you will be able to perform at such a higher level because you'll understand it on such a deep level. And you'll also be able to go out and help and serve other people and make a huge difference for
And
people.
you're in that energy with like-minded people, right? And you're bouncing off of them and their energy. And even if you're over a computer screen, I can feel your energy from here, right? It's all contagious. And you talked about, earlier about like how even the negativity can spread through a team. Energy is contagious either way. So, and that was why I had to reiterate to my teammates, like, we still got this, right? And that can spread throughout the team. Positivity can spread like a wildfire just as quickly as negativity. So that's also the cool thing about the coaching program is you get to be with a really cool group that are all striving for the same thing. They're all vibing together, and there is a collective energy that even when it's over, I still reconnect with a lot of the other coaches that I've either coached or have been coaching with, because anytime it's a refresher, it reinvigorates you, and it can be very inspiring. You get new ahas when you can bounce off of other like-minded coaches.
Yeah, let's talk about this for a little bit though, because being in your dad's realm, like just the people that are drawn in, the people that came into your home when you were growing up, the people you were surrounded by, the people I've met just from being in your dad's world and at the different events that he's been at are so inspiring. Like, and I think it's your dad's energy of he's so positive and he just is very affable that people really enjoy him. But he somehow draws in these really successful, heart-centered, really positive people, right? And
Mhm.
one of the greatest, I think, one of the most amazing like benefits of this program is just being a part of Dave Austin's inner circle, like being in having Shane in your world, or like these people that are just really amazing people. But what was that like growing up, having just being
Uh,
surrounded by all these incredible human beings?
It's almost like, I don't know if you remember the whole, I don't remember what it was, but there's a joke of like 1 degree of separation from like Kevin Bacon. Like he's connected to every single person on the planet. I sometimes felt that even growing up, like my dad is probably like 1 degree of separation from anyone. And if he hasn't met them, like, and you set that as a goal, like, hey, I'd like to meet, so and so, like, I don't know, he'd find a way. Like he just knows at least the right people to, and like you said, his energy is contagious. His storytelling is top notch, and stories are a great coaching tool too. And he uses stories a lot in his coaching because people can relate with stories a lot, sometimes a lot better than like an actual like written down homework assignment or whatever it is. A story is it's emotional, it's memorable, and he just interweaves that into his daily life. And I think that that's a huge reason why people gravitate towards him, or he gravitates towards other people. It's a little bit of a law of attraction too. So yeah, no, it's been cool to be in that circle and be able to meet a lot of these people from all different walks of life. Whether they're a celebrity or not, I've met some amazing people just throughout my life, just thanks to my dad being so well connected.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love how you brought up the storytelling because I was talking to my friend Maya, Allison Rogers, who introduced me to Dave, and she was like, "Yeah, I hired him as a coach, best year of my life. Like he's the most impactful, mentor that I've ever had in my life." But I would be sitting in the coaching session, and he'd just be telling stories, and I'd be like, why is he just telling me this story? And then a week or two later, I'd be like, oh, like this is how it applies. And I just like love geeking out on how the human brain works. And it works in stories, symbols, and images, right? And so it's the most effective way to coach is through this storytelling and the images of beast mode. And he really has kind of the secret sauce to making a difference in people's lives. And one of the key things that I've learned is just the power of storytelling, you know?
Well, it's one thing I think there's a lot of very powerful coaching programs out there, and I've gone through a lot of them. But I do think that the biggest differentiator with this one and living it out, and as well as being alongside of him coaching other coaches into this program, is the recollection of it. Because if you don't remember what was taught throughout the thing, you might feel on a high after a seminar or something like that. It usually kind of tapers off by the end of the week, even. But one thing, being able to anchor all of these principles to an actual trigger, and we utilize those beats because we give them a name and we're able to recall them when we need them. But same with the stories, right? The stories are memorable, like all of that, and they come together, right? You actually get a tool that anchors with something that you remembered because it was such an engaging story. You remember it when you need it because there's so many. You go back to that, down in 57 seconds, like in that moment, you don't have time to think, okay, what did I remember? What did I learn from that one coaching? And how can like, no, it's got to be intuitive. It's got to be like right there when you need it. And the stories paired with the triggers, an actual tool, is why it's just so effective, and so powerful.
Yeah, it's like deep into our subconscious rather than just
Yeah.
like on a conscious learning that you're
Yep.
going, what was that again? And it's a
Oh,
like,
if I just think the word in RESPA, which I'm sure you know
yeah,
RESPA, I instantly like my body starts going into a certain mode. I instantly take a deep breath. I instantly get into that neutral mindset because I'm centered now. Now I'm seeing things more clearly. I'm more processed, all because I've just trained my mind into like you just say that one word and it instantly shifts you. It's a mind shifter.
yeah. There's Tony Robbins, he talks about the unconscious competence. That's where we're getting to. You start out like unconsciously incompetent. You don't even know you're bad at something, but you get to a point where you're unconsciously competent. And that's really the place that you can get when these are all you have to think is like one vision of an animal, and boom, you can like embody something, a completely different energy, and shift the way that you're thinking and acting.
Yeah.
It's just
Well,
very
and
powerful.
the awareness to know that you've been doing something unconsciously, and to be able to put that pattern interrupt and say, okay, I'm gonna put in something different to then now have a different outcome. Because so many of us, we really go on autopilot because our brains are amazing, right? Our brains are incredible drivers of our life, but a lot of times we don't know where it's driving us and why it's driving us there. So that awareness component, a lot of these triggers, one, bring the awareness, bring attention to it, shine a light on it, but then give you a process to move through that in a positive manner. So that's a huge, and that's something that I did not learn right away. Like that was something that it took me a while to understand and appreciate the self-awareness aspect of this coaching. And once I started to really master that, I mean, it's a game changer.
Yeah. And now you started a whole company around it, and now it may be used by all these Olympians, and there's just so much potential in what this is. And so, you
That's
know,
right.
um, I I've sold programs for so many thought leaders. I've gone one year I went to like 25 different events, talk about like going and then not having it integrated and not being able to apply it all. But I've been to so much, and like let's just be frank, this is the best program. So like, why is it the best program,
Can't
Shane?
argue with that
Let's
one.
just let's just say like at the end of this interview, like why is this the best one?
Um, well, I think there's an authenticity, there's a genuine connection to I think just the group for one. It doesn't matter each program I've gone through, we just attract awesome people, I think, because they get it. So I think that's first and foremost, you're surrounded by incredible people. But second, it goes back to, like I said, it's the recollection, it's the retention of it. Like you can remember, it's an actual tool. It's not a motivational talk, right? It's not, we're not going to motivate you if you're not already self-motivated. I mean, we can motivate you, but again, I feel like that wears off. You need not something just pushing you. You need tools that actually pull you, and tools that you can continue to apply. So I think it's the most applicable processes and tools. And that's I think the biggest powerful driver of it is that it's actionable and it applies to all areas of life. I've used it in sports, I've used it in business, I've used it in life, use it with my family. I'm teaching my kids, the animals, right? It's
So
simple
cool.
for, it's simple. They might not even understand it yet, but if you start ingraining it early on, even a kid can figure it out and
Be
understand.
courageous like a lion, like, right? Like,
Right.
you can
And
totally
it
do
sometimes
that.
it
That's
seems so
so cool.
simple, but
Yeah,
it's easy to forget if you're not, again, you're not aware of it. It's sometimes just a simple reminder is all that's needed.
yeah, that's so beautiful. And then one final thing I would add is it's just there's proof. Like
Yeah.
Dave's worked with, the MVPs of the baseball league, with Olympic champions, with multi-million, billion dollar companies. Like, so
Right.
this works. And there's a lot of programs out there, but this has the components that really will give you an edge. But most of all, just give you the tools to make a difference in your clients' lives. And that's the most, like we said at the very beginning, like that's what the biggest thrill of being in this industry, doing this work is really making a difference and changing people's lives and helping them to reach their full potential in whatever realm they are, whether it's our children or whether it's pro athletes or
Right.
CEOs, right?
Amen. Amen. I think that sums it up perfectly.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, it's been so fun being with you today, Shane. Thank you so much for hopping on. And yeah, we'll see you at the event, if not sooner. So,
Absolutely. Well,
yeah,
thank you for having me. This is a great time. Again, I always get fired up when we get to talk about this kind of stuff. So just gonna be riding into the weekend on fire. So thank you
right?
for having me.
So I want to invite you to join our certification program if this resonates with you, if you want to use this for yourself or as a coach. This is such incredible information that you'll want to do and really learn how to embody over the next 6 months. And so it starts October 11th in Utah. We're going to have a 3-day in-person event. Again, so much about connection, about being together, about connecting with incredible people and really embodying the information. And then we're going to spend 6 months together, meeting weekly online and going through online certification modules. And then at the end, April 11th, we'll have a 3-day event again, a graduation ceremony, a time that you can teach and practice and get your certification. And so again, if this is something that sounds interesting to you, just go ahead onto extremefocus.com/certification, read all about it, apply, reach out to me if you have any questions, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.